My name is April Plank. I am the City Administrator from the City of Hoschton. Most of you probably don't know where the City of Hoschton is, and we are in Jackson County. We are 35 miles north of the Atlanta perimeter, just to give you a little bit of geographic data. The City of Hoschton is pronounced Hoschton. We get that a lot. Some people call us Hoschton, Houston, but it is pronounced Hoschton. The City of Hoschton is experiencing rapid growth. We have currently a population estimate of 2,000, and we are growing very rapidly. We have a potential annexation coming in with 1,600 acres. That's going to be 2,300 homes. So over the next 10 to 12 years, we're going to have a population increase of probably 6,000 to 6,300. So we're going to be up around 8,000 people. So we are growing tremendously. We are considered a bedroom community. We do not have a lot of commercial. We don't have a lot of industrial because we are a small bedroom community. Just to give you a little bit of an idea, our current average home price is $220,000 to $250,000. After this annexation that's coming in, our average home price is probably going to go up to about $330,000. In the year 2017, we had 136 business licenses. In 2018, so far, and we still have some coming in, we have 170. Building permits, which is a huge indicator of growth within a municipality. In 2015, we had 24 building permits. In 2016, we've increased to 79. In 2017, we went up to 98. So far, for this year, we are up to 81 building permits, and we still have almost half a year to go. One of the initiatives that the City of Hoschton has taken to combat an ongoing issue that we've all experienced is code enforcement. Code enforcement violations, we've seen that it's a never-ending task. And one of the things that the City of Hoschton wanted to do is we wanted to challenge our problem area, we'll say. We didn't want to necessarily just get the law involved and start citing people. We wanted to take a different route, a different course of action, and we wanted to build relationships with the citizens that live in our targeted challenge area, known as West Jefferson Street. Now, one of the things that we decided to do a little bit differently is we went to each of the homes that we wanted to target individually. We introduced ourselves. We let the citizens know what it was that we were wanting to do. We wanted to let them know that we're not coming after them, that we wanted to help them, and we wanted to encourage them and educate them on the reasons why bringing their properties up to code is important, and what it does not just for their particular area but for the entire city in general. So what we did was we made some flyers. We call them invitations. We like to call them invitations. So we created invitations, and again, we went door to door, individual property owners, and let them know what it was that we were trying to accomplish and when this challenge was going to begin. I think because maybe we took that initiative and went door to door, that we started off on the right foot. They knew that we weren't coming to just attack them, that we weren't just going to cite them and tell them how wrong they were doing, that we spent that time to let them know that we do care about them. We do love the fact that they're a Hoschton resident, and we want them to continue to be a Hoschton resident. So we offered them this no-cost clean-up initiative to them. And by giving them this invitation and challenging them, everybody loves a good challenge. And that was one thing that we thought that would be a better way to handle this situation versus just citing people and throwing out code violations and notices and, you know, we're going to take you to court if you don't get this done. We also wanted to make sure that we were enforcing accountability. So along with the education, we let them know that it is their responsibility as a homeowner, as a tenant of a homeowner's property, that it is their accountability to make sure that this home stays out of code violation and in compliance. And by doing so, it encourages your neighbors to also clean up their areas, and it also discourages any sort of criminal activity. Now, we don't have any, I can't say any ever, but we don't have a lot of violent crime in the city of Hoschton. It's more petty theft or people walking around after dark that a lot of residents don't like, and those are the typical complaints that I receive. We get a lot of trash and debris that's kind of thrown on the side of the roads, especially in our problem area. But we wanted to also get the residents of our challenge area involved in the city of Hoschton. And by doing that, it allows them to understand that we're not just here to get them. I want them to come in and meet me. I want them to know me by first name, not just as the person who works for the city of Hoschton. A lot of people don't like government, as we all know, and sometimes we're just the bad guys. And by introducing myself personally, now I can drive down the road in my personal car and they know what kind of car I have, they know who I am, and they wave to me as I'm driving by. So forming relationships, I think, with citizens is absolutely critical. And also, by doing this challenge, I wanted them to be the example for other neighborhoods to be able to participate in this challenge. And after this challenge was completed, I did have neighbors come from different neighborhoods saying they loved the idea, they thought it was great. I don't know what you've done to West Jefferson, but it's looking really good, and when can we participate in a challenge such as this? Now, West Jefferson Street area is just typically, the neighborhood is just below poverty level. We have a lot of property owners or tenants with fixed incomes. A good portion of these properties are rental properties, or they're elderly homeowners and they've been living there forever. We did have quite a few that were vacant or uninhabitable homes. And again, there was some criminal activity taking place over there. Typically it's nonviolent crime, but it's something that we definitely wanted to target. Now, further, I wanted to let you know that the city of Hoschton does not have a police department. We are a small municipality, very small. We only have 6, soon to be 7 employees. Our average budget, or our annual budget, is $6.5 million. So we really are just a small municipality without a police department. So everything that we're doing internally. And when it came to the code enforcement, we didn't have the money to go out and spend a lot of money on writing citations and taking it to court, because we don't even have our own court. We would have to take it to Jackson County. So it was just going to cost the city a lot of money. So this is one of the reasons why we decided to take this challenge in a whole different approach. But the most common code violations for the West Jefferson Street area: junk, trash, and debris. Inoperable vehicles, unlicensed vehicles. We saw that a lot. A lot of vehicles on the backside of the homeowners' properties that had been sitting there for years up on concrete blocks, that you could just tell the insides were ripped out. Some vehicles were even being used as storage. High weeds, high growth, grass growth, building conditions not being sanitary, and unsecured points of entry, particularly on the homes that were vacant or uninhabitable. Going back over the spring cleaning challenge and the ways that we started to bring this to the homeowners' attention is we sent a notice of violation before the challenge, providing awareness. The letters basically were just saying, hey, you know, you have certain code violations. We would like for you to address them. Here's my name and number, and please call me if you have any questions about this notice. And it just was, again, it was just more of making them aware that something was taking place. Because since we do not have a police department, that area has not been targeted for quite a long time. Again, we hand-delivered the invitations to participate in the challenge about 2 weeks in advance. We hand-delivered to more than 60 homes, and not all of these homes were in code violation, but I wanted everybody to feel that it was fair what we were doing. And also, if one neighbor, if one particular property owner was not in code violation, but his neighbor was, because they've been living beside each other for so long, it was a good way for them to support each other in the challenge. And we did find that did take place. Again, we introduced ourselves to the property owners, to the tenants in the targeted area to establish rapport. And I think one of the critical things to keep it going is that the city has maintained a presence both before and after the challenge. And that really goes back to me saying that usually about every night on the way home, I take that road home. I kind of go the back way just so I can drive down that road, and they know who I am. They'll wave to me, I'll wave to them, and that established rapport continues. One of the things that we did to make it easy for people to participate in the challenge is we placed two 30-yard roll-off dumpsters at different ends of the targeted area. You see it a lot that maybe sometimes the lack of motivation is there and they don't want to have to go too far to dump their items. So we tried to prevent that by placing dumpsters at two different ends of the street. And a lot of you may want to know how much all of this is costing, and I assure you that we do not have a budget for this, and it's something that has needed to be done. So we had to come up with creative ways on trying to bring that cost down as much as possible. And if you build a relationship with maybe you have a dump site, or maybe you have a company that is more local that would be able to provide you with these dumpsters. A lot of larger companies like Waste Management or Republic, a lot of them have community initiatives that they have to take place in every year. So first thing, whoever your trash collector is within your municipality, contact them and see if they would be willing to donate these dumpsters to the city at no cost. And I would say that the majority of them would, because again, they want to be able to give back to the communities as well. A typical roll-off dumpster, depending on the company that you go with, is anywhere between $250 and I would say $400, depending on the size of the roll-off. We got these donated. We had a ton of different items collected: mattresses, household appliances, and we didn't really restrict anybody, with the exception of no liquids, you know, because those have to be separated out anyway, no matter what type of cleanup that you do, whether it's oil or paint cans. So we just ask that they not dump any liquid. Tires is always an issue. It doesn't matter what road you go down, if it's rural or if it's along the interstate, you're going to find tires. So that's one thing that we did not want to prohibit them from getting rid of, because a lot of our problem area and a lot of the homes over there have a lot of unused tires, or for whatever reason they're laying all over on the property. And that was a huge collector. We were able to have removed a ton of tires off the sides of the road and in around each of these properties. Broken furniture, that's another one. You know, you'll see appliances sitting outside on a porch. Washer, dryer, dishwasher. We accepted all of these appliances, and we got rid of a lot of this on the properties that were in code violation. Over the period of one weekend, we were able to collect 7 roll-off dumpsters, 30-yard roll-off dumpsters. We put them out on a Friday afternoon, and we picked them up, or they were picked up first thing Monday morning. So literally Friday afternoon, Saturday and Sunday, 7 30-yard roll-off dumpsters just in this area. So it was a tremendous turnout. We did have, they actually did have to come back and pick up items because, you know, the dumpsters were so full, or the last round of dumpsters were so full by the end of the weekend that our Public Works Department, our guys had to go out and pick up a lot of the debris that was left around the dumpsters and kind of put on top, or they actually would put them in the back of their truck and take them to our dumpster that we have at our wastewater treatment plant to dispose of the remainder of the items. Just to show you some pictures, here are just a few images of a before the cleanup and after the cleanup. One of the properties, 282 West Jefferson, it was an abandoned house. The house had been vacant for years. The windows were all busted out. There were no protected points of entry within this house. I kind of peeped in through the windows, and there were sleeping bags, and I think squatters had been in this particular house. Vacuum cleaner was hanging halfway out of this window, and so I just met with this property owner, and he's an older gentleman, but he also has some other properties on West Jefferson that he does a really good job of having his tenants keep up those properties. So after working with this particular property owner, he actually had the house demoed. And so you'll see the before the picture and then after the picture, and it's still a work in progress, but he actually just stopped up here a couple times this last week and to let us know that he is planning to build some duplexes on this particular property. So he's going to be providing more homes, and he has completely cleaned up this particular parcel. Here's another before and after. This was a uninhabitable home. All of the plumbing had been ripped out, the electric, all the copper had been gone. You can see from the pictures, sleeping bags, pillows, drug paraphernalia, bottles, alcohol, you name it. This house was just in a complete disarray. The after picture. This is one of my personal favorites because the home previously was in such bad shape, and a lot of our criminal activity had been taking place on this property. Somebody had come in and actually purchased this property right during the challenge. And after I met with him, I met he and his wife on a couple of different occasions, and he came in to tell me about all of his idea that he wanted to do with this property. So as you can see from the after picture, he not only secured any points of entry, but he has also removed a lot of the weeds and the grass, completely cleaned up this property. He's even put sod down, and he's built this beautiful fence at the beginning of this particular property. So this is one of our huge success stories. I'm very proud of this. Again, 7 roll-off dumpsters have been filled in this particular challenge. There was absolutely no cost to the citizens. You know, I think that it's important that we try to work with them as much as possible, and this, by providing this service with at no charge to them, was definitely helped make it successful as it was. After the challenge, 19 of our 26 properties that were, had 2 pages of code violations had actually complied. And because of the rapport that we have built over the last 5 to 6 months with these people, now they have continued to maintain these properties. By doing the challenge, it has saved the city of Hoschton several $1,000s, because if you take into account the number of code violations that you have to write, all of the different spreadsheets that you have to maintain to be able to keep up to par with what you're doing with these particular violations, these violators, these properties, how many times you've talked to them, even something as simple as postage, the amount of postage that you have to send, court costs, the time that it forces a municipality to deal with one single code enforcement case. It literally saved the city thousands of dollars. And the total cost to the city of Hoschton was $1,100. And that does take into account administrative costs, because the number of hours that I would have put in on dealing with each of these code violators individually versus getting it all done in one lump sum, the total cost was only $1,100, and that included the dumping fees. And that's where pretty much the majority of the cost lie, because there were no charges to rent the dumpsters. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you would like any more information on what the City of Hoschton continues to do to combat this area, you're more than welcome to call me or email me. Again, my name is April Plank with the City of Hoschton in Jackson County, and our office number is 706-654-3034. Again, I'll be more than happy to help in any way I can, and if you need further detail, please contact me.